Hello neighbors, it's Brad here at eTrailer, and today we're taking a look and installing the CURT Class 1 trailer hitch receiver on a 2019 Chevy Cruze. Now, being a Class 1 trailer hitch basically means that you're going to have an 1.25 inch receiver tube opening, and you do kind of limit yourself a little bit with bike racks, ball mounts, and cargo carriers. There's definitely still options out there, but on smaller vehicles, sometimes you're limited with a 1.25 inch, and my car is the same way, and don't worry, there's still plenty of accessories that you can pick up. Now, when you do have your accessories in place, you're going to be using a 1/2 inch pin and clip to keep them in place. Now, the hitch doesn't come with one. A lot of times when you pick up accessories, they'll have one included. But if you want to pick up a locking one, they're really nice because you can put your accessories in place, lock it in there, and you can leave it on the vehicle and not have to worry about anything walking away in the hands of someone else. Now, just because it is a Class 1 doesn't mean you can't pull some small trailers, and when you do that, you do have a plate style safety chain loop here, so your standard S hooks are going to go on there just fine, and also larger clevis style, they're going to work no problem. Now, if you do plan on towing a trailer, you do have to adhere to the weight limits of the hitch, which are fairly standard for your Class 1. Your gross trailer weight rating is going to be 2,000 pounds, which is the weight of the trailer plus the accessories loaded up. And you also have a tongue weight rating of 200 pounds. So that's going to be the downward pressure that's put on the inside of the receiver tube opening. So if you have a bike rack, you're going to want to make sure that you weigh the rack as well as those bikes and not go over that 200 pounds. Now, you also want to check the vehicle's owner's manual to see what it's capable of as well and compare it with the numbers of the hitch and take the lower of those two numbers. When choosing accessories, you want to see if they're going to clear your fascia without causing any damage. Some of them do fold up, and you're going to want to make sure that it clears. And so measuring from the center of the hitch pin to the furthest point of the rear fascia, we're coming in at about 4.5 inches. And also we're going to check the ground clearance. So if you plan on picking up a ball mount, you can decide if you need a rise or a drop. And this one here comes in at 11.5 inches. Now, something else to keep in mind is when you have suspended accessories like a cargo carrier, bike rack, they are going to be off the back of the vehicle. So as you go up an incline, just keep that in mind. You don't want those dragging on the ground. Now, as far as the installation of the hitch, it's not too bad. You are going to lower down the muffler of the vehicle, and you're going to be trimming a heat shield as well as a plastic underbody panel. But other than that, we're just going to fish wire some hardware up and bolt it in. So let's take a look at those steps so you can get your hitch installed. The first step of our installation is going to be lowering down the exhaust. If you're doing this in your garage or in your driveway, you can just put a block of wood or something like that just to support it. That way it's not just hanging down, causing any stress on the exhaust further upstream. So I'm using a cam buckle strap here. I'm just going to kind of loop this across to create a cradle. Next, we're going to go to our isolators here, and we'll see that they're attached with, we have a whole bracket here that's got 13mm nuts. We're going to go ahead and get those removed. Now, once you get those bolts out, if you can, you're going to want to kind of push this back because you have clips here that kind of press against to kind of bite in once they're on the studs. So you want to kind of get as much away from this portion here where the bumper beam is. That way you can get your isolator taken down. So now we're going to go ahead and remove our heat shield. And the way to get these speed nuts off, if you can get a pair of needle nose kind of in two of the slots, you can kind of just twist it and get it started. They come off pretty easy after that. Now there's going to be a few of these. It looks like we have a total of 3 of them. So we'll go ahead and get these all removed. Now keep those speed nuts handy because we're going to pull our heat shield down and out of the way here, and that way we can trim this up. Now I've gone ahead and kind of marked out where we're going to trim our heat shield, and this is just going to give us additional room to be able to bolt up our hitch. So using a pair of shears is kind of the best method for this. Now be careful because once you cut it, it's going to be very, very sharp, so just keep your hands clear of that. I'll go ahead and get this trimmed out. Now the smaller portion of what we cut out is going to go back on, and that's just going to still give us that protection from the muffler where we have our where our spare tire lives. So we'll go ahead and get this put back up. Now on the passenger side, you should have an underbody panel. Ours is missing, unfortunately, so I can't show you how to trim that out, but the instruction manual does lay it out pretty easy of where to trim, and that way we have clearance to get our hitch up. So once you get that taken down, you can trim it, and we're gonna go ahead and get our hardware put up. So the way we're gonna get our hardware put in place is a fish wire technique, and we'll be using these two holes here. So find the one by this short little stud, and then it's going to be the one directly behind that. So pretty easy. We're going to get our fish wire, our carriage bolt, as well as our spacer block, and we're going to just take our spacer block, kind of run that down, and then on the coiled end, we're just going to take the carriage bolt, and we can thread that on there. We'll then feed this up, put our spacer block up as well, and that's going to drop in. Now keep your fish wire in place. This is going to hold our hardware in when we raise the hitch. That way, if this bumps up, it's not going to be stuck in the frame. So we'll continue on by just doing the rest of the hardware. So again, this hole, and then it's going to be identical on the other side. So now with an extra set of hands, we're going to get our hitch raised up in place. We're going to feed it up over the muffler first, but take your fish wires and feed them through the corresponding holes, and sometimes put in a little bend. Once you kind of pass that through, it'll kind of hold it in place for you. And as we raise it up, we'll just kind of pull these fish wires along, and that's going to allow those studs to pop through. Now have your flange nut ready, because we're going to get one started, just hand tighten on each side, and that way the hitch will be supported, making it easier for the rest of the hardware. Get tight here because of that stud. There is a little notch for it, but mine kind of rubbed against it, so just kind of press up, and then make sure that that bolt doesn't go back up in the frame. You can kind of put pressure on it just using a finger, or if you're delicate, you can just kind of get the couple of threads started here. And once you have one started on each side, the hitch is going to support itself. We can go ahead and get the other flange nuts started as well. Now I'm going to go ahead with an 11/16 socket and just snug this up. We don't have to get too crazy here because we are going to come back with a torque wrench. So we just want this hitch to draw up. Now we're going to come back with our torque wrench, and just using the torque setting found in the instruction manual, we'll go ahead and get these all torqued down. Now if you need a torque wrench, we have these available here at eTrailer. You can generally go to an auto parts store and rent one as well. And once you have these all torqued down properly, you can reinstall the panel that you trimmed on your passenger side. Now we can go ahead and get our exhaust put back up and those 13mm bolts put back on as well. Now you can go ahead and remove whatever you had supporting your exhaust out of the way. And then all that's left to do is start using your hitch. And that was a look and installation of the CURT Trailer Hitch receiver on a 2019 Chevy Cruze.